Okay, today we decided we're going to give you a little background on bulb planting, spring bulbs. And what we have here is a pile of bulbs that our class had put in over about the last 10 years off of our jobs. Whenever we had left bulbs that are spent after the season, we always, for the clients, they dump them. It's too much work to save them and replant them. So I would bring them over here, we would dry them out, store them, and plant them around December, November. And you can see this whole bed is full of bulbs. There are probably some tulips in here, but they're not up yet, because this happens to be the middle of January, okay? But you can see we have a lot of these kind of straight ones. Those are iris. Over here, if they're kind of gray leaves, those are daffodils. You can see some of the daffodils, they're paper whites here and there. They're blooming already, okay? And then we even have some weeds in here called oxalis. They're yellow flowers, so we leave them. You know, it's like a colorful bed. And when you plant your bulbs, usually we plant them in December. Some people do them a little earlier. And then in some of our jobs, we plant them actually after Christmas, because the clients want the garden to look good for Christmas. And so we put in all kind of other plants, and then they pull them out, and then we put the bulbs, so our bulbs then bloom a little bit later. So the main thing with the bulbs, you have to learn a little bit on your own or read a book, is the height of the blooms and everything. So you don't go and put maybe your iris in the front row. They should be kind of in the back row, because when they bloom, the flowers are going to be about this high, okay? Tulips, probably 20 inches. And then the gray hyacinths, we have some of those around here, and they're shorter. You get into some of the others, the crocus, they only grow about like that. So you put them out in the front, and then a lot of time we go right behind them. We'll put hyacinths maybe, and then tulips, and then the taller things to the back. Here we just plunk them down all over. We look like when they're all spent, we look for an open hole, boom, boom, put a few bulbs in there. We don't care what this looks like. In our jobs, we plant a particular bulb, like if they're tulips, we'll put in 10 to 12 in a round hole. And so they don't touch. So when they all bloom, they don't bloom the same day. So you have some bloom in there for a couple of weeks, you know. So some people plant a bulb here and a bulb there, and that's a lot of work. So we put them in big clumps, and what we do, we put a little stake in the middle of each clump. Now we know those are there. So to make it look good, because when you get all done, there's nothing. All it is soil. So then we go put a cyclamen in here, or a pansy here and a pansy there in between them, so it looks like a planted bed. And then when the bulbs come up, they kind of take over. But you still have these other plants. Because a lot of time we used to plant a couple thousand bulbs on one job. The people would leave in the morning, and they'd come home, and we'd still be there, and all they saw is soil. And they figure, my God, I'm paying 3 guys all day. What have they been doing? And we have to do a little bit of sales pitch, telling them, wait until April, when it all blooms, then you'll see what we were doing. But you know, in the meantime, it looked kind of bare, and that's why we put the flowers in between, okay? When you're planting certain bulbs, we put some bone meal in them, or superphosphate. Makes for taller stems and stronger stems. You don't want your flowers to come up and fall over, okay? So it's kind of up to you on colors, because if you're into tulips, God, they have from white, yellow, rose, black. They got all these colors and different sizes. They have tulips, they'll grow 6 inches, and then they have some that'll grow bigger and bigger, and there's some that grow 24 inches tall when they bloom, you know. So you have to know what you want and what color. And just so you know, especially tulips, they don't come the same every year. It's a crop, and whatever happens in Holland or wherever they're grown, if they have a poor year, you may not get the same quality of a flower as you did the year before. It's like growing vegetables and everything. It's not always the same. It's a crop. So a lot of people are discouraged on that because, like a tulip bulb, I guess, I haven't been buying any lately, but, you know, probably 50 cents or more per bulb, you know, and you put all this out, you put in a couple hundred bulbs or 1,000 bulbs, it starts to add up. And so that's why it depends what people like. Probably all the other bulbs, the most expensive bulb are hyacinths, but I find that they come back every year. And you can pick the color, and then if you save them from year to year, the sheath around the bulb is colored, so you know roughly what color it is. If it's kind of a white to cream color, it'll be white or yellow. If it's purple, it'll probably be dark blue or purple flower. If it's kind of rose, it'll be a red or a rose color. When you get into tulips, somebody gives you a tulip, you don't know what it is. An iris, you don't know what it is. But in the hyacinth, you could tell, you know. And also, the hyacinths have odor. So a lot of time we plant those near the front door or on the way to the front door. It's kind of nice. People come in the garden and they can smell the tulips and all the others. They don't have much of an odor, okay? So bulbs are a lot of fun. Here in San Francisco, if you want to see a good display, you can go out to the windmill out Golden Gate Park, Wilhelmina's garden. They plant it every year in tulips, and it's gorgeous. And you can probably ask Thomas, you know, when it's at the peak. He could find out through his wife, who works in Golden Gate Park, when it really looks the best.
Gus, once you're talking about Toby working out there, do they have a different method of planting them or something?
Oh yeah, Toby used to be one of our students, and he's in charge of that area, and they plant them individual bulbs, and they use electric drill with a big bit on it.
What?
And they have 2 people just walking around drilling these holes, and then other people come, put a little bone meal and throw the bulb in and keep moving, and somebody else comes and just puts all the soil back.
Cool.
So very, you know,
operation.
Once you see it, you'll understand why. Because they put in quite a few thousand bulbs, you know. And so, you know, if you're a little operator on your own, make sure you know what you're doing, because I don't know if you know what 1,000 bulbs look like.
Ooh.
And if you got to plant them with a trowel, you may give up.
Going to be sore all day the next day.
Yeah, because you got to remember, this is a raised bed. And usually your gardens are on where your shoes are, on the ground. And it's a lot of bending and or crawling. It's either bend or crawl, and you'll have a hard time straightening up at the end of the day. Sometimes we have a insect problem, then you have to deal with it. You know, a lot of time, if they're aphids, just love tulips more than they like anything else, and you can wash them off. And then if you really have to use some pesticide, use safer soap. You don't need anything more than that. That should take care of them, you know. But forget all these other poisons and stuff, because you don't need those, you know.
What about things like gophers and stuff? Y'all have problems on your accounts with those guys, or?
No, mostly what we've had problems with are rats and raccoons. And that's why we got away from bone meal, dogs were digging them out
Ooh.
because they smell the bone meal, and they get down there and you find your bulbs out on the sidewalk, and they were after the bone meal. And then we had people that had rats. We put the rat traps out, and then they found robins and blackbirds in the trap.
Oh.
And so we couldn't do that. The clients would go nuts if they saw that, you know. So sometime, and you know, most people then will use poisons, but poisons are bad because you have maybe people's cats come by, squirrels or so. So when you're growing some of these crops, you're a real farmer, and you have to deal with these things. And this is one advantage of being a weekly gardener than a once-a-month gardener. And if you come in every week, you see what's going on and mitigate it, figure out something.
Stay on top of things.
Yeah, and you talk to other gardeners, talk to nurseries if you don't know, talk to Thomas, and you'll get your own little system, and you know what to look for, which rodents or what are doing the damage. Because a lot of time when you find it, you know, we used to put traps out, and then we'd be shocked. We got skunks instead of raccoons. We thought we had a raccoon problem. We had a skunk problem, you know, and then you have to learn how to take your trap away when you have a skunk. So you'll know. I'll tell you right here. You have to carry a blanket, and as you walk like this up to the trap and throw it over the trap, and as you pick it up, you put it underneath and put a rope around it, put it in your truck, and I shouldn't tell you this, but we just transport them somewhere else. You know, you're not supposed to do that. But what are you going to do if you trap the skunk? Because the SPCA won't come and take care of it. So you go to San Bruno Mountain and let them go.
I hear like a lot of times it seems like the daffodils, nothing like to eat them. Huh? They're poisonous. The deer don't like them. The animals don't like the daffodils so much.
No, that's what they say. But you know, I had one gardener told me, wait until it's the optimum time.
Until they're hungry?
And they're hungry. They'll eat anything.
Anything.
Because I used to tell them they didn't eat agapanthus. He says, I'll show you eating them right to the ground. They leave them all year, but little by little there's nothing else for them to eat.
Yeah.
Then they'll eat the agapanthus.
That's funny.
So, anyway, I think that's about it on, this is an overview of the bulb. It's not the whole story.
Maybe we can get another look at them later on the season when they're blooming, Gus.
Well, maybe later on, because I know we have a lot of bulbs out in front.
Yes, sir. They're coming up. Some of them.
Might take a picture of those.
Yeah, the crocuses for sure.
We'll see you later.
Thank you very much, Gus.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.